Hello, Music Multiverse listeners, and welcome to Beyond Your Radio's Album Review Saturdays. This is episode 12. Album Review Saturday is an extension of our uh, article section of the same name on beyondyourradio.com, where obviously I pontificate in article style on each of the three albums. You'll get that on this video, but you'll also get three additional ones. Now, this weekend, we don't have Deb, but she'll be back next weekend. So, have you subscribed yet? We'd obviously love you to do so. It helps our channel. And of course, it gives you the ability to connect with us directly. The comments, likes of our social media accounts are always welcome feedback. And as an example, our love out to Kitsa from Port Orchard, Washington, for all their fun connection over the last weekend. When we reviewed their album, Dead by Dawn, we always have a good time reviewing new music, and they were no exception. The band read the review out loud on the tour bus. So if they're out there again, we love you. And just like you might think, today's albums might have that ability too in these bands. So although these you will probably have to hunt down indirectly, as we definitely went beyond your radio today. So today, the first album is Couch Gags, Goth Sports. And then we follow up with Modern Stars Termination. And then we move to Mr. Bison, Echoes from Across the Universe. You know, there are places in the music multiverse where it would almost seem impossible to become a musician. Now, take example, the Bermuda Triangle, or maybe perhaps a worn-torn African desert land, or perhaps maybe the largest urban cities in Italy. The beautiful voice that survived the mysterious water triangle is obviously Heather Nova. And of course, the war-torn desert was the gift from for us, for Tinarwin. And finally, one of those two Italian bands on the list, or is it three? That's right. We have three Italian bands behind me today, and I'll dive into each one of them. So, what do we got? This is Italy. What's their export? Well, you think their number one export might be wine. That's not the case, although maybe it was back in the day. But obviously, I leave a list of those in the article section. But machinery, pharmaceuticals, obviously, vehicles, electric machinery, and so forth and so on. So it's kind of funny how, you would think wine is something they would be the chief export of, considering how great it is. Bari, Italy yielded a man by the name of Ivan Iusco, a composer, a record producer, whose record label, running out of Los Angeles, has been connected with artists like Brian Eno and Depeche Mode. He has an affinity of avant-garde and dark ambient, which he put into a band that I believe was called Nightmare Lodge, which I'll be following up on too. So let's talk Couch Gags. I'm going to say this. This is the, channel, and that we had this, that's your band name. I'm not going to spell it correctly. How many times I had to spell this? And then they got the 3 Z's at the end. Are you getting carried away? Is it an inside joke? I mean, beyond that, careful naming your band, even if you're from Italy. So, Goth Sports. Even though the name doesn't help me in any way, shape, or form, the album is like a sports reel on sonic steroids. It's got a sonic punk tempo that completely envelops you, right? And not only that, it has a surfer-like sound within it as well. It's cool. It's infectious. It has even that augmented vocal that kind of has that idea of the B-52s, maybe. So the rhythm guitar and matched up sound, and then back to an instrumental refrain, all work so well in that throwbackism that they're doing here. I was completely drawn into the music and pace of it. It's kind of left the lyrics, though, on the cutting room floor. Paying close attention to the changes in the guitar work and the fun, simple riffs, it just got lost. They throw it down, they slap it all over the room, and then they're even clever enough to leave a little space, seemingly to catch their strumming and solo breaths, because really it has a pace on it like no tomorrow. So evident is this on BAP Challenge. which is a song that does not have vocal accompaniment, which is kind of where I was hoping the record was going to go. But in that song, I kind of found the aching deficiency of the band. How come I can't completely follow or hear the lyrics? In the third listen, it's 3 listens now, I'm starting to pick up pieces of it, but it's not foreign language that was stopping me. No, I don't think so, because the Italians are pretty good at speaking English, and it sounds much better coming from them with that little accent. Is it the sound wall or the production? Maybe, maybe not. What am I saying when I talk to you about the commitment? I don't think there's anyone committed to delivering the lyrics. I think they're more committed to the sound, the musicianship, the pace of the record. I can hear and imagine in the Italian club, people just jumping and slamming to their wall of sound and kind of just leaving the lyrics and the vocals on the killing floor, enjoying the ride provided by the musicianship that's surrounding the band. It's kind of like that lower boot kind of moshes on. No one in the band is committed to it, as you'll kind of hear in it. Perhaps when the roids wear off, this sophomore record will come to fruition, and maybe they'll have this interesting choice to make. And that's what I'm hoping. That is what I'm anxious for, as their debut in their own punk environment has a lot going for it. And they've got that energy to fight for a really nice spot in the music multiverse. Again, couch gags, Gus Sports. Now we move on to Modern Stars Termination, a band also out of Italy. It's a fine line between progressive industrial rock environment and the psychedelic progressive rock environment for me. That line of ambient drone, the music that speaks to intro, but sometimes never gets enough to lead you somewhere. There are bands that take it to the next level, like Tool, and there are bands that linger in the mire of moodiness, nurturing it as if it was a bonsai tree. I like both, but I love the journey of going somewhere. So Modern Stars, for me anyway, from Rome, Italy, is a tougher sell. Wait, don't give up yet. Termination, their latest album, has that hint of context that's necessary. Now, Marco Gargiulo of Metaverse, who sends this to me, like couch gags as well. I don't want to disillusion you that I didn't like the record. I actually did. If Then is one hell of a startup song for this album. I love the building moody, underscored guitar and psych, and the growing drum beat. But it doesn't go anywhere. But that's okay, because it's starting into another song. So, okay, I'll play along, as there's nothing wrong with an intro into another song, considering the prog environment it could be lending itself to. It does allow for the entry of a male melancholy moaning vocal along with an electronic, pitchy, ominous slide whistle. Does anybody remember the slide whistle? Now, I'm not saying that he used the slide whistle here, but it does come to me in this. Okay, while it didn't go exactly anywhere, it was, like the bonsai tree, sculpted to a uniqueness and signature that was developed enough to appreciate. This is where Modern Stars hangs their musical hat. While you starve for the vocal to reach a better Depeche Mode tone and delivery, you still enjoy the clever molding patterns and the final product of the band's musicianship. Again, we're in this same issue with the vocal that I talked about in the first band, the lyrical commitment to it. Is it supposed to be there? Is it important? The band is delivering, and even though it's not reaching a tremendous crescendo, it is doing some fantastic, bold, bass and psychedelic fused, rhythmic, centric, progressive rock type of things. This is obviously my first listen to the band, and I see that they have a catalog that is maybe 3 more albums deep. While I'm not sold on the vocal delivery and lyric of Termination, I will be going down that rabbit hole to hear what the sound and sculpture came to be at this point. So it's kind of a going backwards. I plan to roam, almost spelled that wrong, by the way, ROAM, is their sound I want to go back to. And I think you should too, especially if you like the kind of dark, ambient, heavy on the psychedelic sculpting of progressive mood rock. Perhaps Modern Stars is the modern answer to Moody Bridge that's going to bring this all together. Is there any title that intrigues me to this notion? It's their Psych Industrial album from 2021, And Away I Will Go. Will you join me there? This is a miniature band in the grand scheme, something we always enjoy here at Beyond Your Radio, but their sound is much larger than their stature and shaped carefully to reach even the most discerning ears. I have a feeling that bonsai terminology here will keep them in their wheelhouse, comfortable in the small, shallow container. But believe me, the sound is much bigger than that and should be allowed to expand. Next up, Mr. Bison. So you name your album Echoes from Across the Universe. That's big. That's huge, right? You can see it in the cover. You can hear it in the title. So what are you going to do? The progressive psychedelic rock band from Tuscany, Italy, really lays down some very impressive technical compositions here on Echoes from Across the Universe. You saw the echoes in the printed cover. You kind of felt like this had to be brought in that nature, and they did. And the band makes sure that you feel those in the subdued electronic keyboard and the fuzz of their yes in psychedelic rock. Yes, I said yes. Think Big Generator for an example of the context of the sound. After all, this is Heavy Psych Sound Records label that they're on. So you better bring that alternative stoner intensity. But they also managed to give you that vocal harmony that makes you think of that comparison to Yes. What also thrills me, and this is the selfish part of me and the Yes that I prefer, the keyboards don't go way too far. The riff and flow of this album from start to finish is careful in its productive, progressive nature, but holds tight to the psychedelic and hard rock instrumental positions. Dead in the Eye, which does feel 7 minutes.
Let me close your eyes, I show you what you need. Let them go. Every single step that takes you away from me
encompasses the passion of every single member's contribution to the project. The bass holding it all, the guitar shimmering and riffing, the drumming counting and courting the chaos, and of course, the vocals. They're reaching and searing with melodic intensity. I'm really blown away by the vocals here, and you will probably be too. It does have that Yes type of feel too in that Big Generator. It seems that most of the band can play bass, from what I assume, so that's why the bass seems to be the backbone and breath of it all. And then that leads to the progressive instruments of mellotron, synthesizer, and the Hammond organ. The harmonies, which I believe are all Ciochetto's vocals, really make the album stand out. It's actually a fantastic second listen where I was picking up on all kinds of the intricacies and instrumentation, progressive moments, and the mission and the concept of the record, which took me some time, and it will for you as well. This is a fabulous listen of 70s fused today's progressive hard rock environment and a complete audio immersion of past, present, and maybe future of how music can escape this predetermined thought process we have. So escape is at hand. So take Mr. Bison's hand, buy your headphones. You've made the right choice. The concept record, as told by Bandcamp page, I will read to you. The concept is based on the Norse Norms myth, who weave the threads of universal destiny on a tapestry in which all existence, in a continuous mix of past, present, and future, intersect and influence each other, thereby generating a kaleidoscope vortex of infinite and unpredictable possibilities. For this reason, we have used them as a symbol of freedom of choice, which never excludes, but indeed implies the element of chance. Next, we take on 3 albums of 3 different natures, one another Italian. So let's start there. Obviously, also another meta versus PR sent to me, and I always thank Marco for doing this. The name of the band is Tiger Shit Tiger Tiger, and the band's naming of the album, Bloom. So they went into that's your band name kind of thing again, but a decent kind of name for their album. Again, it's not another great band name in a marketing aspect, but Bloom, not to be confused with Nirvana, but possibly a little Nirvana. That's right. It definitely has a garage grunge environment. There's the familiar guitar and sonic wall that swallows everything into one sound. So are we shoegazing? Well, pretty much, yes. In its development and sound, which seems to suck the intended intensity into a compressed audio. So again, what's going to suffer? The vocal. Again, Italy, let me again press upon you the importance of the lyric and the vocal if you're going to use it. The sound and musicianship here is very worthy, and but I'm lost on what it comes to in the vocal and the delivery and the lyrics on Bloom. Production is shoegazian for sure, which definitely puts you at an audio disadvantage in my ears. Why? But I know there is an audience in this for that, sort of like that a la Catherine Wheel. But maybe you need to understand you need Rob Dickinson at the helm. So if you don't have that vocal, some things get lost. And I would hope that Tiger Shit, Tiger Tiger kind of looks back on the record, and realizes how well they did the garage, grunge, and shoegaze of this, and how it affected the rest of the record in the vocal arrangement. Although there are some people that do enjoy that shoegaze all in one sound. Not for me. Next up is Def Nettle DN001. So Def Nettle 001. Well, if you're going to do that with your album, I guess since Def Nettle is the punk funk project by music guy Glenn Brady, well known for half of the New York City Electric outfit, The Glass, and as DJ Wool, and as a member of Dark with Dolores O'Riordan and Andy Rourke of the Smiths. You know, this is the first time the genre-hopping artist has taken center stage. This 37-minute electro, club rock, and pop rap album has a lot of elements that are catchy, enjoyable, development of lyrics that kind of make it an important part of the record and a fun part. There's a hint of neo-police reggae living in the rhythm line here, which again, the slight punk nature is clever, it's fun, and it's intriguing. Even in upper tempo like Piss Take, it's still hanging in there as he's rapping down in the British style that I think makes for the bangers on the record. I just love it when they rap and they make those claims that are just not Western. You know, they're more European claims in the English nature. I get some tricky here on German Cars, and the ender even has Andy Rourke of the Smiths on it, which makes you go back and listen to this entire record again, and you kind of start to get to a Pretenders kind of feel to it.
He's not rich, but he's real famous. On the edge and a little dangerous.
So for Def Nettle putting himself out there, I think this is a fine record to start with and has a lot of potential for moving forward. Of course, being the musician that he is and how he blends those sounds, I think there's all too many places he could go. So enjoy that if you're in that wheelhouse. Finally, let's end with Jlin or Lynn, depending on how you pronounce it. I didn't look it up prior to this. I do know that it's Jerry Lynn Patton, known as Lynn, in an electronic. She's an electronic musician, and she's got this knack for inclusion and sampling. But this is my first listen, and why is it? Well, because she had enlisted Bjork, Kronos Quartet, and Philip Glass in the mix. Now, maybe I thought they were part of it, but I believe it's just all in sampling. You know, that's an impressive list of inclusion into the electronic record programmability that this is. The accessibility and flow within it confines the sampling, unfortunately, and manufactured musicianship. While I did not even give one care to the Bjorkian use, I mean, she's got a bigger catalog and a better catalog that could have been used for. I did find that the Kronos Quartet engagement and the Philip Glass parts were a little bit more well done and did have that match and conceptual design. Summoning was the song that I thought best typified what I was expecting from this artist. Because this is my first listen. I expected there to be a dark, haunting, more creative landscape. But eventually, the blips and the electronic presence of the drum in the grand scheme of things just became too pattern-like, too simple, and a been there, done that kind of thing. But that's the unfortunate part when getting to this in the electronica world. It's a lot of subjectivity. I didn't go much farther. So what did you think of these albums today? Are you going to be on the progressive rock path to pick up albums of this nature from Italy, or you love the sonic punk and from Italy, or maybe you're going to go a little shoegaze from Italy? Check us out on beyondyourradio.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, of course. We'll see you next weekend. We're going to be doing the brand new albums of Elbow, Star Sailor, and a banger from a band called Nataraja. Go beyond your radio with us, a real music appreciation channel. Until then, thanks for watching and happy listening.